Luffy's first fight with Crocodile.
Yeah.
So I've been thinking about a new thing with it, with the whole like metaphor for the Ubermensch thing with Luffy and them, about the seven warlords of the sea.
Oh, right? What's that?
So it's why I have less notes than normal, because I was like trying to work through this idea, because it matters, because Crocodile's the main villain of this arc, and Crocodile is one of the seven warlords of the sea.
Yep.
And the idea is, so in Nietzschean philosophy, you like, he says like you want to keep chasing life, and comfort is like the antithesis of life. Like you shouldn't do it. You shouldn't avoid suffering. But the seven warlords, that's exactly what they do.
Yeah, everything.
They get just strong enough to where they're able to just sit comfortably.
Yeah, they only get strong enough to fight the people that are in the way of their comfort in like a small part, because all they want is their own little hole kind of to be a part of. Because we see that so far in the story, we definitely seen that with Mihawk, and we've definitely now seeing that with Crocodile, because Mihawk doing his own thing, but now we see Crocodile actually taking over a whole like country.
Yeah. So my thought with it was that the warlords of the sea, not just them as a character, but according to Nietsche, they would be terrible people.
Yeah.
Because they have exhausted their will to power. And when I say will to power, I don't mean like Nietsche doesn't mean like the ability to exert power over another person, because he actually thought that was weakness. He means like power over yourself.
Yes.
And your will to live, basically. Like to a small extent, it is the ability to conquer, but he didn't see that as the true thing. Like he thought if you were trying to subjugate somebody, that it just was because you're too weak.
Yeah. And you couldn't subjugate yourself. You're too weak to put strength over yourself.
Well, not just that. It's that you are so worried about how weak you were at one point that you feel it necessary to make other people feel like that. To have power, to feel like you actually have power, but you don't truly have power. You just have some convoluted thing that you've convinced yourself is power, and that's not actually power.
That makes sense.
Is like how his whole thing about it is. And so that's what like we've only seen one warlord so far, but that's what all but one warlord's like.
And it's cool you mention that, because even when we get into not even just talking about the warlords, just in this sequence alone, that's how Wampo is.
Yeah. That's how like he got just strong enough to control everyone around him.
Yeah, just strong enough to control Drum Kingdom. And literally, you see, once the real strong people came in, he hauled ass.
Yeah. And then, like, so it's not a one-to-one thing that Nietsche came up with, but there's like 3 levels of people in Nietzsche's thing. There's like the weaklings, the conquerors, and then the self-conquerors.
Yeah.
And those are like the how good of a person you are metric, kind of, in the like in that philosophy, I guess is the best way to say it. And if you think about it, it's weird, because it's not how Nietzsche's philosophy is with it. It feels more like psychology than philosophy, because it makes sense when you sit and think about it. It's just the wording he uses is weird for modern interpretations of those words. Like, because when you hear the word power, you're just like, oh, he just means being able to control people. But what he actually means is, when he says power, is the opposite of that. Because if you're trying to control people, then you're just too weak.
Too weak, yeah.
But like sometimes the power does mean to be able to control people. It's weird. Like it changes based on the context of what he's saying.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's because like the word in German for power is like has multiple meanings, or if it's just one of those things that it's like certain power is good all the time, and then certain power is good partially, like it's subjectively good, I guess, could also be like what he's trying to say.
I can see that.
But when we get, like, I've noticed that's what a lot of the bad guys in One Piece up to this point are like. They, like, not only do they completely contradict, like, the idea of, like, chasing life like Luffy does.
Right.
Not only do they do that, but they, all of them, except for, like, super late in the thing, like Don Flamingo is going to be, like, the ultimate example of this.
Right.
Because, like, his whole thing is he wants to be what we're saying is a last man.
Yeah, he definitely, he is, his whole persona is literally trying to become what we've been saying is the last man.
Yeah.
Even like down to his own philosophies and his own beliefs.
Yeah. Like, everybody but, like, well, no, even Horty would fit that bill because, like, he's willing to suffer to a point, and then once he gets to that point where he accomplishes his goal, he no longer wants to suffer.
Yeah.
And so...
And that's what makes Doflamingo's a step higher, because he doesn't have a point. He wants to live the idea of the last man to the fullest, literally just taking over people to the fullest. And in Horty's case, he just wanted to be over humans and have his own section.
Yeah.
But in Doflamingo, he... not just his section, if more than likely what he accomplished, what he does in Dressrosa, he's going to try to do it somewhere else.
So it's just the thing that I'm getting is that, so Nietsche believed that suffering's not only integral, but people need suffering to have fulfilling lives.
Yes.
But it's not, but he's very particular with how he said it's not suffering that is needed, it is meaningful suffering.
Yeah.
It's like he says, like, suffering is not what breaks people, it's meaningless suffering that breaks people.
Because when you think about it, just in like a regular standpoint, you know, if you suffer for a cause, and in order to get to that cause, it'll be better on the other side. But to suffer and have no way of escape or no ways of forward progression will literally destroy, like, a psyche, or like a personality will literally get destroyed if they suffer meaninglessly.
Yeah, and then he even has, like, a super famous quote, Nietsche does, and it's, he who has a why can bear anyhow. Ooh. Like, if you have a reason to suffer, you can endure any amount of it. Like, a person can endure any amount of it.
He who has a why can bear anyhow. That is great. That's powerful. So
the basic idea is, as long as humanity has a reason of being, they can accomplish anything. So he says it's to be Pirate King, but the reason he wants to be Pirate King is because the Pirate King's the most free.
Yeah.
So
definitely true, because in the later chapters, in the story, it is starting to get revealed that him being Pirate King is only the first part. He has some other dream that hasn't been, like, exposed to the audience at this point. He does have something else he wants to accomplish that he has to be Pirate King in order to do.
Yeah. And so I assume it's just he wants to be as free as possible, because that's, like, his whole thing, is he just wants to live an unfettered life. So, but he's willing to bear any suffering imaginable. Like, as you see him go through the story, like, he's willing to bear, like, everything. Like, we're going to get to it in a little bit when we talk about Alabasta, but, like, he gets fucked up in this arc a couple times. And then he, later on in Impelled Down, when he gets the hormone treatment, it's supposed to be, like, years worth of torture distilled into a couple of days.
Yes. When Ivankov did the hormone thing to try to save him with the poison and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's supposed to, I think if I remember correct, what Ivankov in the story said is literally him completely breaking himself apart and then having to put himself back together.
Yeah, and it's like, and it takes 5 years of your life off when you do it. But Luffy was able to do it in, like, a quarter of the time that it's supposed to take. So the implication is that Luffy took accelerated suffering.
Yes.
So like he's doing all this great, like he goes off, like before the time skip, he's gonna go off and train with Rayleigh for 2 years, and the implication there is that like Rayleigh is like a tough son of a bitch, you know. Like we don't know exactly what happened on the island, but we know that Rayleigh fucked shit up. Like, fuck Luffy shit up, like, 100%. Like, he 100%. Like, Luffy suffered.
Oh, yeah. Nah,
like,
he had to go
100.
through a lot in order to learn. But that's
Yeah.
been Luffy's character. You know, he doesn't... One thing about what makes Luffy... One thing that I think that makes Luffy the Ubermensch so totally that he encapsulates is just... He doesn't care about his own suffering. In fact, the only suffering that has been... the only suffering that seemed to really bring him down is the suffering of people that's close to him.
But also, that's the thing I'm getting at, is I don't think it's just the people around him suffering. I think it's them unjustly suffering.
Yeah.
Because, like, the suffering that they put themselves onto to get better, Luffy 100% agrees with. Like, he's just like, yeah, like Zoro
Definitely
training.
see that.
Like, Zoro, like, because Zoro's, when he trains, he, like, basically fucking kills. That's why he naps all the time, is because he just destroys his body 24/7. And Luffy's just like, yeah, dude, that's awesome. Hell yeah, my best friend's so cool.
And it's funny you say that, like, too, because it makes sense. Because Zoro, the 3 things Zoro likes to do when he ain't fighting: train, sleep, and drink. So you think about those 3 things, it's like he gets up, he goes to work in the training part. You know, once he has some downtime, he likes to drink and then find a way to enjoy himself. And then when he's not in combat, he's resting. He's literally doing everything a soldier would do, like in their daily lives. Train, literally rest and recover, and then in their downtime would probably drink.
Yeah, but the training is like just straight physical suffering,
yeah.
Right? But it's suffering that has a reason for being. And
oh my God.
what the heck?
Is it going in and out?